Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install this Eufy wall light camera with a 2K camera, adjustable lights, as well as no monthly fees for your own security system. Alright, if you want to see a full tutorial, I've actually already posted that video. I'll have links to that down below, but this video is going to be just the installation process on this wall light camera. And then at the end, I will give a review of the installation process, things like that. But before we get started, the things you're gonna need are two Phillips screwdrivers. One is a full-size number 2 and the other one is a number 1, as well as two flathead screwdrivers. I ended up needing a number 1 and a number 2 screwdriver for my install. Your own installation tools that are needed might be different, but these are the ones I needed for installing the wall light camera at my home. Alright, don't forget to stick around to the end of the video for a brief review and my thoughts on this overall, but let's get started. So if you don't already have the Eufy security app, you can download that from the app store, but I already have it, so we're just going to go in here, and then up here in the top right corner we can see it, the little plus button, and we'll add new devices here. And look at that, the wall light cam. Alright, we're going to send it to my house. And now it wants the QR code on here. So on the back of it, we can see that there is a QR code that says, attention, the USB cable, and so we got to connect our USB cable powered on. But don't look at the light. The light might be bright. I love how goofy the character looks on there, like, makes me want to quote A Bug's Life when he's like, I can't help it, it's so beautiful.
No, Harry, no! Don't look at the light! I can't help it, it's so beautiful.
So we've plugged it in. Let's see if we can do this without the instructions, because everything else Eufy has made so far has actually been fairly user-friendly. So let's see if we can do this guy here without instructions here. So say it's plugged in. Let's go ahead and protect ourselves by turning the lights downward. Hit next. Connect it to our Wi-Fi.
Press the sync button until you hear the beep.
Alright, now we do need that SIM card tool. It didn't come with one, so I'm gonna have to go grab mine. Alright, I went and grabbed my Eufy little SIM card style tool. We're gonna go ahead and push the sync button in here. You can use a paper clip or something else if you have that. That is a loud beep. I heard the beep. Let's see if we got a blue flashing LED right there. You guys see that? Hit next. And then they're gonna show a QR code here on my screen. So we're gonna turn the camera to it. Hopefully. Hey, there's our double beep. Wow.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
That is a loud beep. Oh, don't do this while the children are sleeping, you guys. So now it's gonna connect to my Wi-Fi network.
Setup was successful.
Great. We'll go ahead and hit next. We'll go ahead and update our firmware. Alright, update has been successful. Turn off the circuit breaker of your home, turn on the light. So this is talking to us through the install process next. So if you don't already have a wall light installed in your home, this will give you instructions on how to measure where to put it in. Oh my heavens. We got all of our brackets, things like that. Avoid doing this, that, and the other. Tells us how to wire it correctly, that's good to know. And then it shows us how to install or mount it, turn the power back on, and then start testing it. And then it shows you you can actually turn these around so that you can have, kind of like I was showing you earlier, where you can set it up to be facing this way or this way, have one facing out, one facing in. So if you're like, hey, you know what? I want the lower one facing out, the upper one facing in to be like a architectural light to make your home light up rather than the ground, things like that. So these are some neat options that it offers. Go ahead and hit next, and then your installation should be finished. And we can go into settings real quick while we're here, and we can actually edit this guy here. So go into general, we're gonna rename this one. And if, like me, you went and just swiped through all those just to get to like the settings on the camera itself first, and you're like, I kind of need that mounting guide again. If you go into your general again, or go back into the settings on that camera, go to general, you actually have your mounting guide again, the whole process available again, in case you need to reinstall it somewhere else, you moved, things like that. All right, it is a little chilly out this morning, so I'm gonna throw a jacket on and let's go ahead and head outside and start installing this guy. All right, so this is the light I'm going to be replacing. As you can see, it's already all set up and everything, so this should be a fairly easy process. It may be more intensive and you might have to follow those instructions more closely if you don't have something like this. But the first thing I'm gonna do is actually go inside and just flip the light switch. I'm not gonna go to the circuit breaker. I'm just gonna flip the light switch because it's right here on the other side of the wall. All right, and this one, a lot of these actually have these little nubs you can kind of see here. You'll just unscrew those little nubs here, and that will make it so that you can take this guy off the wall. Pretty simple process, and it looks like we already got mounting brackets and everything. Now, before you start touching any of these wires, doing anything crazy, if you can, get yourself one of these little electrical testers and just check all your wires to make sure that nothing's live. If it is, it should beep. And I'm getting, see if I really tap it, it'll do it, but I'm not getting any electrical power out of this guy, so we should be good to go. So most of my wires, it looks like, are still tucked up in here. So go ahead and pull these guys out carefully. Come on, cut on a screw here or something. There we go. Beautiful. Go ahead and unscrew these little wire nuts, and then it looks like somebody used a cursed flathead screw here on this ground, so we'll release that until we can get this wire out. There we go, and the light is off. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these screws out here. Well, that's funny, they're just using drywall screws. Great. There we go. This came with some big old stainless steel, so they won't rust, screws as well. We're gonna use these ones now. These also do come with little plastic anchors and other screws as well, so depending on how you need to mount this, your situation, they do have a few options, but all I need for this situation are these two screws. They're gonna go here and here. Make sure you're installing this right side up here. We're gonna just line up to where the holes all line up here, and now I got mostly in there. I'm gonna get the other one started as well. And then I'm gonna leave it just a little loose because there's a couple of things you can do. One, you can make sure it's up and down centered in this overall box here, but also you wanna make sure that it's level. So I'm gonna get it in here, make sure it looks pretty level. I think that looks good. Lock that one down. Yeah, that's solid. Okay, next we need to connect all these wires here. So if you look closely, you can see you have a G, an N, and down here you see an L for load. And if we reference back to our guide, that means this is our ground, neutral, and our hot wire or our load wire. So that's typically your bare copper or green wire, your neutral, which is typically white, and then load is usually a black wire. You can also see here on the guide on the screen. So let's go ahead and start here with our ground. You'll just insert it here and then use that little screw to secure your wire in. You'll need a small flathead screwdriver here. Give it a tug to make sure it's secure. We're good. A nice thing about my home is they actually used some solid copper rather than strand copper or aluminum wire. So one nice feature of having an older home. It's cold, so these wires are stiff, and so are my fingers. Come on, there we go. That's nice. I really like that our plastic sheathing is all the way in there. Don't have to worry about accidentally grounding things out or having a short. And then lastly, we'll do our hot wire on the bottom. If you don't feel comfortable with this part, you can always hire an electrician. But this is a fairly simple procedure that most homeowners should learn how to do. There you go, and they've made this extremely easy. Now we just push on your light, and then 2 screws will go in right here. All right, so we'll make sure our light is right side up with the Eufy security logo there. We might need to bend these guys down and out of the way so that it can slide over here. So now we're gonna go ahead and install our little black screws. All right, so for our little black screws here, you're gonna want a smaller #1 Phillips bit for this one. These are almost like eyeglasses style screws here. Real small guys. Be careful not to drop that guy out here, especially if this is over some dirt or something. Push that in. All right, and there is our wall light all installed. Next thing to do is let's go flip the switch inside, see if it turns on. I hear a click, I see a little red light. I'm assuming it's trying to connect to our Wi-Fi network again. We got a blue light, and we're connected. So we can just go ahead and hit the play button on our side door here. My volume up was up on my phone. So now we can get an idea of what we can see here. So if I go all the way to the right, you can see that post there blocks off a lot of the camera. But if I'm walking straight up to the door, it loses me. I'm maybe 5 or 6 feet from the door, but most people are going to be coming from over here, which is where my car is, and I think I might point the camera over here. So this is all the way to the right, so if we turn this all the way to the left, you can start to see the street here and the house. I think I'm going to actually leave it right here to where it's showing, I'm pointing on my screen, but you can't really see that. I'm going to create a zone here on my phone, or on the app, to where it sees basically, if I can point out on the camera, ooh, this is going to be tricky, basically from here on the edge of our garden bed to our neighbor's fence right there, and then basically cut across their fence, because we don't want to pick up like when our neighbors are sitting there playing in the yard. But this will basically protect my car and then anyone that might want to walk up our driveway. All right, and that is it. You kind of saw, I went through that whole thing, and the only thing that I used instructions on is like the actual guides it gives you in the app when you're connecting it. But after that, it's really do-it-yourself easy. I love my Eufy security system. I've had it for going on 6 months or so. I have a couple other cameras that I should probably do a follow-up review on for you guys. Specifically, one that I've been super impressed with is the Solo Cam. It's a solar security camera, no wires, nothing. I'll link that up here in the little eye icon or down in the description. That solar camera is impressive. I've had 0 issues with it. I haven't even touched it since I installed it. That's how good this is. But as for this one right here, like I said, easy to install, just like all of Eufy's other home security devices. Super easy to install. Granted, this one is probably one of the more in-depth ones that they do make, just because you do a little bit of actual wiring. But overall, super easy, super manageable, especially if you're one of those pro home owners or do-it-yourselfer type people. This is totally a doable thing. One of the things I really like about these ones is I always thought it was really slow to send notifications, but then when I started to see like other people's home security systems, those can take just as long, if not sometimes longer. I'll show you an example video here of me getting out of my car, setting off the camera, and then you'll hear a little drop noise, like a water drop. That's actually my phone going off saying, hey, there's motion. I'm still in the camera view, I'm still right there, and I'm getting notifications like, hey, there's somebody here in front of the camera. So I think that's probably fast enough, if not as fast as you're gonna get it, especially considering this isn't a paid security system. This is a security system, you buy it, and it's ready to go. Now let's go ahead and talk about the letdowns, the things I'd love to see them change, or upgrades I hope they might do in the future. One thing that I'm a little surprised and disappointed by, but I've started to see it more and more with more devices these days, is if it's not like a primary, like a cell phone, a primary device like a computer or a cell phone, they only connect to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So if your system is having trouble connecting, make sure that you separate your Wi-Fi systems from like a 5 and a 2.5 into two separate 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz network. That way these can connect without an issue to that 2.4 gigahertz network. One other thing I ran into, and I kind of showed it in the video, is the wiring in the back of the camera. You do have to make sure you push it in. There isn't a whole ton of room there, even though there's plenty of room to bring those wires out and plug them into the little socket attachment. You do have to kind of bend them back out of the way. Otherwise, I kind of cut it out in the video. It's really hard to get that casing pushed on and align those side screws just right if those wires are pushing back against you. I wish that it had USB-C instead of using micro USB. Granted, I only used it for the first, minute or two of the video, and then I'll never use it again because it's direct wired. I'll never need those micro USB connections again, but it would be nice that if they did use a more current powering connection like USB-C. I know that they do have some devices. I think my solar camera was USB-C, but all the others have been micro USB, and I might be mistaken, but I know that our doorbell, it's one I have to pull down and charge regularly, and it's micro USB. Like, why? Why not USB-C? I also wish that the expandable memory was bigger. Or easier to expand. Right now, it comes stock with 4 gigabytes of memory. I wish it was possible to just throw in a micro SD card of your own in there and expand the memory up to like 512 or whatever, but that's not an option. I am told that this does pair with the Eufy Homebase 3. I don't know if it has backwards compatibility. I haven't looked into that yet, but you can then expand your memory with the Homebase. But I wish it was expandable with just the individual device. Next thing is, I also mentioned it in my full video, is exclusion zones. So there's a notification zone or an activity zone that it lets you know, like, hey, let me know if you see any motion here, but it doesn't offer a, ignore or an exclusion zone of like, hey, don't worry about sending me notifications for this area. And I wish it offered that, kind of like my doorbell camera does. Oh, you know what? I didn't even mention, one of the really cool things is the night vision on this. In low light, so when the lights are on, even when I have them completely as dim as they go, and I have the lights, so these do swivel, obviously, they're facing towards the house and it's as dim as the lights will go, you can still pick out a lot of detail with this 2K camera. And then when it does switch all the lights off and goes into night vision mode, which is using infrared light that is projected from this little kind of a glossy section here in the middle of the camera, that it projects an infrared light, and wow, it is impressive how good the night vision is on these guys. So if you want to be more discreet and you don't want people to know that you're watching them, or whatever reasons you might have of like why you don't want to turn on the light, maybe it's like close to your own window so you don't want to wake up in the middle of the night, that infrared is really good. So it has no problem seeing at night, day, dawn, dusk. It always works. These are really awesome. I don't think I sold it well enough on the first video. Granted, it was a really long video, so if you made it to the end of that one and then came and watched this one, you are a saint. Thank you so much. But if there's something I missed in this video and you have questions, leave those in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to help you with those. If you want to get this camera for yourself, I'll have links to it down in the description just below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so using those links do help to support this channel with no additional cost to you. So whether you're buying this camera or anything else on Amazon, click on those links, do your Amazon shopping from there, and that helps to support this channel. Another way to support this channel is, if you think I've earned it, hit subscribe. It's free. That's the best part. But if there's anything else you want to see in a future video, leave those in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.